Hello Dimity, hello Stephen, how are you?
Hello.
Excellent. Yeah.
Thanks for coming here today and being on the podcast. You both have a project that you've worked on and still currently working on at the moment called Dream State, Wake State, which is a series of short films that I'm hugely excited to see the rest of. I've seen the first part, which was really, really cool. And you have more series coming out over the years. So, we'll have a bit of a chat about that today, guys, and everything around it. But yeah, I don't know, whoever you'd like to go first, perhaps just have a bit of a chat about the inspiration behind Dream State, Wake State, and where you filmed it, and all the rest of it.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Who'd like to go?
I'll give this guy the floor.
Okay, cool. Guess it is, early in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess the number one inspiration for Dream State, Wake State is the planet Earth, really, because we were driven to kind of explore Iceland, which is a kind of like hotspot, I guess, for the planet. You know, it's like a volcanic area, and it's like on these fault lines on the Gulf Stream. There's just like an amazing amount of wildlife and environmental variance, I guess, in this small kind of area. And I think both of us kind of shared interest in travelling there for a long time, just from a personal exploration reason. But being in Australia, on the opposite side of the planet, it's like so far away, hard to get to. So both of us, we practice many forms of art, music. I'm a filmmaker, Demi's an illustrator, sculpture artist. There's a lot of streams that we work within in Australia, in kind of entertainment industries and things like that, you know, kind of creative fields. And so kind of in the back of our mind, we could find a way to get to Iceland and see these places in the world through our creative work. And so we actually applied for a residency in a remote part of Iceland, which is like in a small town called Skagastrand, which is in the kind of north part of Iceland. So just to give some context, say if this is Iceland, then Reykjavik is down here in the kind of southwest, and then in the northwest up the top, so it's basically getting just to where the Arctic Circle is kind of touching.
Right.
That's where Skagastrand is.
Okay.
And it's got a population of about 500 people, of which I believe there was maybe 400 were on holiday when we were there.
Really?
You could hardly see anybody.
Yeah,
It
right.
was like a ghost town.
Is it like a fishing town? Or?
It used to be, yeah, it still is.
Yeah.
It still is. The whole nature of that town's going to change. And I guess that's why there's a residency there. So they invite artists from around the globe to come and spend time in this place and just create things, just be inspired. Yeah, just because it is so remote and so disconnected from regular society.
Sure.
It's,
apparently Detroit's doing something like in a different way, but because they've had such a massive downgrade in their population and industry. There's a lot of students and artists moving to Detroit because you can go like live in a house for next to nothing and just put all your energy and money into creative endeavours. So which is actually going to benefit Detroit.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
as well.
I feel so. Like the impression I get from Skagastrand, and there's a lot of these kind of small villages dotted throughout Iceland. And the crazy thing that we learned is that Iceland's population is only 300,000 people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Which is, it's tiny, you know, like we think per city small, and that's 1.8 million, I think.
Yeah.
So it gives you some idea of context.
Sure.
And a lot of these little villages are scattered throughout this pretty intense landscape, and they used to exist as fishing villages. But I think over the course of, you know, the Industrial Revolution and just in the recent times, that these fishing villages aren't kind of adapting to the industry quite as much. So there isn't the same amount of traffic coming through these little ports, and things are changing. And with Skagastrand in particular, while there is still some fishing there, it's obviously kind of died off. They need ways to kind of reinvigorate this town. And there's a group called Biopol there, and Biopol comes into our film as well. And they're a group of microbiologists.
Marine biotechnologists.
Yeah, marine biotechnologists.
Yeah, I managed to make contact with them a little while ago before the residency started, and was just thinking, would you guys be interested in doing a collaboration with us if we were to make a film? And the guy who's running it, Haldor, very interesting character.
Awesome name, by the way.
Yeah.
He was cool. So I
suits that name very well.
had a series of very funny emails with him, and then eventually sort of gave us, I was like, look, we're applying for grants and this kind of thing, could you write us a letter that's of collaboration? And him not knowing what the project was yet and everything, so So it came across a little bit funny. He's like, oh, okay, cool. So we kind of, had some interesting communications there.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, cool.
But he's a very funny guy. When we got to meet him in person,
yeah.
We've had some funny moments, like at parties. There was this, we went to a party of one of the marine biotechnologists who we met, who's lovely. And someone had given her a giant fish as a birthday present. And
so just diving into tangents of Icelandic culture.
Sorry, I'm just going with it.
Yeah.
But there was so there's this giant fish just like sitting in the sink. Yeah. And she's like, I don't want to take it because it won't fit in my freezer. So then they're like talking between like all the other guests at the party going like, oh, you should take the fish. Like, what a nice present for you. And they're like, I don't want the fish. But like, saying it in something we can't understand. And then Haldor just like turns to us and goes, you will take the fish. And we're like, I don't know if we can take the fish. You will take the fish.
I was pretty strictly vegetarian at the time as well. And just like,
oh, really? Okay.
Which was at that particular time, that was pretty funny because there's so much fish to be eaten in Iceland.
Yeah.
Sure, it's pretty much a staple.
Yes.
Were you both vegetarian at that stage?
I've always been pescatarian.
Okay,
but I was like, I don't want that fish. It's like, I have to like gut it. It's like huge.
Yeah, it's it's okay sometimes. I think it's prepared it, but then if you have to actually go through the preparation yourself, it puts a whole new slant on eating food.
Totally.
Which can be a good thing and a bad thing.
I don't mind, but big fish, not really that into the effort involved at the party, going to another party.
And so what happened to the fish in the end?
We left the situation.
Did ya?
We were like, thank you, ha ha ha.
Politely and awkwardly left the Icelandic party. Yeah. That was really cool. It was all really awesome cultural experiences.
Yeah.
Just being...
It's nice to be invited.
Yeah, definitely. That's like their way of welcoming you in. Have the fish.
Yeah.
Have the fish.
Well, and we can realise that was a digression. There's like Biopole, which Haldor is from, or kind of the CEO, chairman of, it's their initiative to have the art residency there, which is called NES, N-E-S, and
cool.
I guess they kind of established it there because they understand that the town needed more things to kind of thrive and stay alive. And Biopole's research is obviously keeping that town kind of there, and I think they want to kind of just facilitate a bit more culture coming in.
Yeah,
so
nice.
They constantly have about a dozen or so international guests staying with them in this little town, and the main studio is actually a reappropriated fishing facility. It used to be. It's right on the shore,
right?
Like literally the waves are lapping at the door, sort of
Brilliant.
thing. And just a big empty warehouse that would have been just for the fishermen back in the day, but obviously, industry changed, and they're like, what do we do? And it's like, well, they've just got now, people from all around the world kind of coming there just to create. And so this came on our radar, and Dimity found and applied, and we got accepted to go, which was really great. So we decided, okay, well, that's kind of, that's the flag placed on the goal of like all the way over there, and it's like, all right, how do we get there? So we basically, with my connections in filmmaking and both our creative history, we just applied for some funding to go shoot a film there. So
nice. That
got us all the way to Iceland, and the result is Dream State, Wake State.
Cool.
We decided to go. We had loose ideas of things that I wanted to do. Like I was always interested in kind of filming kind of like surreal conversation-based like films that we could kind of shoot as a team of two anywhere we wanted to, sort of thing. Like didn't need a big crew or anything like that. Just things that we could kind of like go traveling as a small team, find remote places, pop out the camera and kind of do it, sort of thing.
Sure.
And so that's what we did, and we decided to kind of not premeditate too much, but rather just kind of write about the things that we often think about, and especially while in transit, and going to these remote places, the kind of possibilities that come up. So we kept the kind of idea kind of open, but we're always, for a long time, have been talking about the nature of dreams and reality, and just how our perception of what's real and what's not, especially in an unconscious state, and what the kind of symbols and ideas mean that you kind of perceive, and how that affects your real world, or how to even know what's real and what's not. It's like a thing that we often talk about.
I specifically have been working on that for like a residency we just done in Spain. I was trying to like see what our perception of reality was, and how everybody perceives reality differently. So you never really know what what somebody else is experiencing because you've only got your version.
Exactly, sure.
And that kind of really came to a head for me last year. I got hit by a car again, and I got a really, really big concussion, and it kind of felt like I was underwater for about a month, and it was really weird. You kind of, I don't know, I kind of lost importance of like everything. Like it wasn't like a depression. It was just like, nothing's important. I don't understand. What
Your reality had changed.
Yeah, it was really foreign. Yeah, and so I think I started to want to investigate like what was the difference between like the dream state and the wake state, which I think was actually Steve's term, dream state, wake state. He got that one.
Cool.
But it was mostly to do with like what was my version of reality, what was happening, what was real, who was actually there, and all that kind of thing. And it is like quite a unique feeling to have, like in comparison to what we dream. We're not sure. Like when we're in dreams, we believe we're totally there, and then when we're in reality, we believe we're totally there.
Yeah. So which one's real?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't really know for sure.
We don't.
It's all a matter of perception. It's so malleable.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so this series that you shot in Iceland was really like a series of episodes looking at that very subject.
Yeah.
What is reality? We have a dream state that we're aware of, and we have a wake state that we're aware of. But what does that mean exactly? And how do they interlink as well, I'm assuming?
Yeah, and we're just kind of just exploring that because it's something that's so esoteric, but I think everyone kind of shares. Everyone dreams and everyone exists in this reality. I guess some people
sure
less than others, but being in a place like that, which is just so removed from the regular, at least in our perspective, our reality.
Yeah, like the red sandy deserts and bush and dry.
I guess
dry lands,
something we're more comfortable with. And Iceland is so wildly vast, and it's to us feels unreal.
Right.
It's quite like a magical place to be at. It's like it's weird. You're staring at like these gorgeous like mountain ranges and it's like glaciers and like there's this point and you drive right past the mountains and the sun's just going down and it turns like kind of pink just on top of the mountains and the white. You're just like, this shit isn't real.
That's right, go for it.
It's the internet, no one cares.
But it's like, it's kind of like looking at a panoramic postcard, like all the time.
Sure.
So you're like, what? I don't like you kind of take it for granted a little bit because you're like,
because visually you're just always being like saturated with just incredible, beautiful images.
Yeah. So it feels kind of like you're asleep a little bit.
For us, like I think people, obviously it's a perspective thing. We come from Australia, we go to a place there where like I've barely seen snow before in my life, barely seen mountains really, People grow up in Iceland's probably a different thing. They probably come here and they feel like
they look at the sky and they're like, wow, there's sky everywhere.
Yeah. For example, up there, the time of year that we went, the sun was only up for like 4 hours a day.
Right, okay.
And it was going to arch over the horizon and dip back down,
And so what time of year was it that you went over?
November last year.
So that's like they don't really have seasons, do they? But it's
they do, I guess,
autumn.
Extreme,
Okay.
I mean, like December 21st is like
chilly.
Yeah, sure.
I think on December 21st on the solstice, it's pretty much only like an hour of sunlight max.
Right. Yeah.
And so it quickly approaches that. Like I think within a month we were there, it went from roughly 6 hours of sunlight down to like kind of 4. It like really shifted, and that for us is a huge perspective shift. That's one thing we took for granted is the sun being up all the time and getting that sunshine and having that light. And so it does change your kind of perception of things. And just being in that place, I guess it really reflects the things that we were talking about. And that's why it kind of really came out in the film we were making, and we kind of don't feel like we're actually there. And it's like, is this place real? And
it's like a surreal feeling.
A very surreal place, for us, because we're just so not used to it. Like when we go for drives and go on these kind of missions to find these places, what blew me away is that I remember we'd say, we're going to go to this location, it's like 400 kilometres away, and then a 400k drive in Australia would be like, alright, 400k's of boredom, be like, okay, here we go. There is like every 15 minutes in the car would be like in a different world.
Sure.
Like we'd just be looking at it and going, are we in the same place?
Like the whole time like
go through this massive
right.
fjord and be like green fields, and then you go to this like barren kind of swampy kind of area, and then you go to this, you drive up this giant mountain of ash, like volcanic ash and like black sands, and
Or past like a pristine flat lake, and you can see the reflection of the mountain in the lake perfectly, like a mirror image. You're just like, whoa.
Hey, it's beautiful. It can be some of the most beautiful things you've ever seen, especially when it's like clear and crisp like that. Yeah, it's quite incredible.
Yeah, really blessed with the weather. It was like, it's a pretty dangerous place to do those sort of drives.
Right, okay, like avalanches and like snowstorms or rain. And,
driving through a snowstorm is one of the craziest things I've done.
Sure.
With a car, for sure. Yeah, and seeing like a glacier for the first time.
Yeah, right.
Just with your own eyes is. Yeah, driving over a long plane and just kind of seeing it coming up in the distance like that. That sheet of ice that's kind of bursting through between mountains. It just didn't look real, you know. I was like, my eyes are playing tricks on me. I was just kind of like, is that kind of coming or going? I can't tell because it's just the scale of it is so unfathomable. Yeah.
So what you're describing, like if people were just going into this conversation, you could argue that you're talking about a psychedelic experience where you're put into like another reality and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And I listened to a Terence McKenna talk yesterday and he was talking about, you know, like a great way for us to be able to comprehend the universe. Like we're limited sort of Earth at the moment as far as where we can go. But psychedelics and travel have the exact same endpoint. Like, you know...
It's always a trip, isn't it?
That's what you call it, a trip. Yeah, you come out into like another country with a totally different landscape, a totally different language, customs, food, and you might as well just be in another reality, you know. And then you have to navigate your way around it, and then you work it out. Very much like a psychedelic experience where you get shot into something that you're not really prepared for, and then you have to like spend some time getting to know it, navigate it, and that's where the real lessons come. Then that's where you can really learn,
know yourself more.
Learn about yourself, which is the ultimate thing.
So removing yourself from your comfort zone teaches you so much about your own psyche and habits, you know.
Exactly, and we've got an amazing opportunity to do that with travel as well. We really do.
It's always strange to jump on a plane and then you wait like a certain amount of time and then you hop off and you're in a completely different place. Yeah. Like it's like, did I actually go anywhere, or like was that just like a stasis thing when I walk out and everything's different and it's just like I'm not quite sure. I always get that weird feeling on planes, especially like long haul flights. Like we did a really long amount of flying. But then you come out and you're in this like a place that is completely different, and you're just like, did I just blink, or did I just have a little nap and I woke up here? And then I always get that feeling like just before something big's about to happen, like a really big adventure or a cool event or whatever, I just think in a moment I'm going to blink and this is going to be over, or this is going to be 5 years ago.
That's perspective, isn't it?
And I get that like on planes, like just before the thing, I'm like, this is like focus on this moment, because in a second it's going to be totally gone.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point in me. I think sometimes, like, I know in the past, before I've gone away the weeks leading up to it, I'm really excited and just like thinking about the trip, and then I'm there wherever I might be, and I've learned to have to be like just really present with my experience, because like you said, before you know it's over, and then you're back in home, wherever it might be. It's like, oh wow, and then all you've got is memories. And
then you wonder if it actually happened.
Exactly, yeah, because you don't have it. Being in the present moment, I really believe it just allows you for it to like sink into every morsel of your being, and you can really live it as well, live what you've learned, and really take that away from you. But yeah, sometimes it's hard to do. Yeah, so when you got to Iceland, was it like would you say like it was like a shock to the system at first, or you just wasn't too bad, it was quite mild, you just had some time to get used to it?
It was just really fun.
Sure.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I think talking about the sun thing, that's one thing that caught me off guard, was how my body reacted to the lack of sunlight.
Right, yeah. Sure, just not getting that vitamin D.
Yeah, exactly right. You know.
Got a bit sad.
Yeah, it's like after the first week there, I'm feeling a bit down. I'm just like, why am I sad?
Yeah.
In Iceland, I should be happy. I'm like a bit like, oh, mopey. And then the other artists are like, you're taking vitamin D supplements, right, Steve? I'm like, no, I don't believe in that stuff. And I'm like, just shut up and take something.
Right, okay.
Of course, I had some, and then like 30 minutes later, I'm like, oh, okay, there I am. I'm back.
Oh, right, okay. Wow, that's so much of a tangible difference.
Yeah, I definitely feel it.
They actually put it in the milk.
Like, did I really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So when you go to the shops, you see the like cartons of milk, it's like with vitamin D, so they include it.
Right.
In something that people take normally.
Yeah, just as an added supplement. Yeah, right. Yeah, interesting. I guess if it's for the benefit, well, you'd have to say it's for the benefit of the population, the welfare of the population. Vitamin D is not such a bad thing to put in there. So yeah,
if
good
you're
on
not
for
getting
doing it.
enough, I suppose.
Yeah, especially if you're not getting enough. Yeah. Summertime obviously must be pretty fantastic because the sun's always there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Onslaught of vitamin D.
Like double.
Yeah.
So
Tan
heavy.
up. Do you feel like the landscape itself influenced so basically your short film series is a series of talks between you two and conversation mixed with just amazing, like the cinematography for it was just incredible, like the way you've been able to like pinpoint different elements of the landscape and the wildlife as well. Just judging off the first one I saw was really, really well done. But do you feel like the environment influenced your creativity and your expression, not just in the filming of it, but also in your discussion as well?
Yeah, completely. So the first episode's going to come out, and there's 8 episodes, and there's kind of 2 different styles. So we're going to go for like an alternating one every 2 weeks as the plan of release. So the second episode is actually more of a documentary of our actual experience and journey there, as opposed to the conversation which happened in these kind of remote places, more esoteric ones. This one's actually just kind of like more about us and about our process in getting there and what we're working on creatively. So the film was like a byproduct of what we're actually going to focus on. So we're all kind of working on our own projects, and Dimity was working on her illustrations and I was working on a performance piece. And my performance piece was based on a series of works I've been doing over the last year, which is about the correlations between nature and humanity in more of a kind of visual sense, looking at the kind of patterns and the structure of nature and how that's reflected in the structure of our bodies, down to things like the works of our veins, the structure of our muscles, or even like the contents of our eyes and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
And how we can kind of see that in like the texture of a rock or like the fractal nature of a tree or something like that.
Sure.
And drawing those correlations, but also in like our society as well, how like nature influences how we work in the more kind of mental sense. And so we're going to talk about that and our processes and how our time in Iceland is influencing our work creatively. And yeah, pretty much because we're just like buried in this amazing nature is a big part of what we are influenced by. And that was part of our initial drive to go to Iceland as well, because we're creative and we're like working with this planet and being influenced by it, and that was just felt like a zenith, that kind of place of where we could see all these things that we've heard about so much but never been able to experience, like glaciers and volcanic geysers and all this
and
beautiful stuff.
While we're driving from place to place, it's when we're riding as well, because it'd be like
quite
a long distance, like from place to place, and I'd be sitting there with the laptop and go, right, Steve, what do you think about this? And he'd like
what you thinking about?
and then I'd have a think and it. So it was being influenced by everything that we're seeing the whole time. So all of the writings was like on the road.
Yeah,
sure.
Like we're gonna choose a location to go to because we've been told it's pretty amazing, and it's like over that driving away, like I'd drive and Dimmy would sit with the laptop and we'd have the conversations that we'd end up filming in the car.
Cool.
But then we just kind of boil them down into like a smaller version so we can just kind of condense them into like a film sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, the conversations we're having were literally the real ones we're just having on the drive to those places.
Yeah, nice. So you literally like pulling the spirit of that place into you and then expressing it out in your own creativity, which was discussion and talking, and then having it mixed with this amazing scenery that you're in as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant way to do it. Yeah.
Touching on like issues that sort of I think are quite core for us anyway, like talking about
for humanity.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But just like things that maybe you think about quite a bit and then you don't really, you kind of just leave it there because it's like annoying to deal with.
Sure.
But like religion and how commercialism is affecting society and and I guess the dreaming part, which is like the whole concept of reality thing, which is always a little bit of a scary thing to talk about with people. You're like, hey, so how are you feeling inside that meat bag there?
Sure.
People are like, I feel weird now, I don't really want to talk to you. It's quite a touchy subject.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, it can be. Yeah, if you sort of prod someone a little bit. I don't know if prod's the right
just,
word,
they
but
don't
get
really
them to
want
like
to come
think
out
about.
of there.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hang on, shit, that's a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, it can be, can't it? But that's just such an amazing place to be able to go, though. Once you become okay with it and surrender to that feeling of being uncomfortable, it's like, oh, okay, what's going on in my reality? What's going on with inside me?
Yeah.
What can I learn?
Yeah, the
It's when
conversations we have would really influence the other works that we're doing as well.
Nice.
Kind of correlating that, and also the other artists that we're staying with.
Yeah.
And they, obviously, the people that would go to, you know, do a month or a couple of months in this part of the world are obviously pretty open-minded.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
be thinking similar things to us and being influenced by the nature in the same way we are. So we made some, you know, really good kind of, met some kindred spirits along the way, just by being
total
there.
dudes.
Yeah,
And a few of them feature in
They're
interviews
watching,
as
I
well.
love you.
Yeah. And
They featured in it as well.
yeah. So the kind of documentary type sections that are going to,
Sure.
you know, like the first one of those is going to come out next week. Is
Cool.
features the interview of one of the other artists, Alice O'Connor, who just happened to be exactly in the same mindset. Her works were about how, you know, nature influences people, and you know, the kind of sublimeness of you know, remote places and how that influences humanity. So I was just like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
This is like exactly the type of thing we're talking about. So we did an interview with her. So.
Right. Oh,
She's
perfect.
totally rad chick too.
Yeah. Nice. And so, was there anything surprising that came out of making this? Like, is there one thing you can look at now and say, well, I wasn't expecting that to happen, or for us to feel or think a certain way about a subject? Is there any one thing that comes to mind?
I think it's just like the adventure of it was like, I felt like almost like a cleansing process, like bringing up all of this stuff that you leave in the back of your head and that you're thinking about and dwelling on, and then suddenly it's just like, it's kind of like a bit of a purge, I suppose.
It's brought to the forefront.
Yeah, it's like, all this stuff that I've been thinking so heavily about for ages, and now we're like discussing it in beautifully like epic natural locations. And it just, it feels like it's coming out a bit, like, oh, there it is.
It's interesting to, like, if you put a camera in front of you and you have to like talk and, you know, about this subject that maybe is something that you're kind of not sure about in your head, it's like, well, okay, I now need to process what this subject is really, you know, kind of definitely. I guess it's like maybe a performance pressure in a kind of way. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's like, even, I guess putting a camera on you forces you to be in that moment and like really embody what you're talking about, you know. It's like, it's kind of hard, you know, we kind of half scripted it, but it's like we have to really, you know, process these kind of thoughts, and it makes us put energy into it rather than, you know, kind of just go explore like this kind of fleeting idea that might be in your head. It's like, okay, let's grab that and let's like really think about it and boil it down to what it means to us, and
make it tangible, make it palpable.
So really process it and explore it, you know. And we don't really make time to do that sort of stuff in our regular lives, you know. Like it's been interesting coming back home and then getting stuck back into our, you know, our kind of grinds. We do creative work. It's really great. But
so Fringe Festival, I saw you guys were doing something.
Lots of stuff for Fringe.
Thing on recently as well. And So how's that been since getting back after having that period of time away where it's isolated and so much? I guess you would have had quite a lot of time to contemplate and think about things and things you're doing, but it doesn't really work that way when you're back home. Yeah, sure. How have you found that? Has that been something that's been hard to like slip back into, or easier? Or?
Yeah, surprisingly for me, it's been quite hard. Like usually I've come back from time away really energized to kind of you know, kind of grab life and go for it. But this time I kind of felt very displaced.
Okay, yeah.
I think
it's funny how that goes, eh? Sometimes it's like, let's get back into it, and sometimes you get back, you're like, oh,
this is
a bit tough.
Yeah, I had trouble finding my feet.
Fitting back in and then knowing what to actually do. Like for me anyway, I know Steve had like built-in projects to hit the ground running with, but I was just like, I feel a bit odd.
Sure.
I'm not sure what I should be doing now.
Yeah.
Like that I've like just discussed all of these things about life and how it's weird to live.
It's going to come full circle, I think, a bit, just sitting down and editing all this stuff in recent weeks and finally just putting it together, you know, and processing it and going back to that place and that state of mind.
Sure.
It's pretty cool that we had a camera on us, you know. It's like we're talking about how, you know, you go in these moments and you realise it's only going to be just kind of there. You have to be present for them and they're kind of gone. But I felt really lucky that we've been able to kind of contain these experiences in such detail, like cinematic detail. And it's funny, it's kind of nostalgic for me already, like just editing them only in like the last week or two, because like it wasn't even that long ago, but like so much has kind of happened for me personally after coming back home.
Right.
It's like, I could go back to that place now where I was free to think and explore these more esoteric ideas and not be, it's not like I'm not complaining about my lifestyle here, like I'm working on really great things, but in some ways I'm kind of distracted from the deeper thoughts and feelings sometimes.
Right, sure.
So it was kind of nice to have this like little gateway I can like step back into Iceland.
Like a little reminder.
Yeah, a little reminder, and just like remember the things you were talking about and feeling. It's like, yeah, that's right. We'll go into some pretty deep places and still kind of access that. And it's great that we can kind of share those ideas, and hopefully they can give people that similar sort of feeling of like being free and putting that stuff aside and just kind of thinking about the bigger picture.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a great thing about modern technology is you're able to do something like what you guys did and actually film it, sound record it, and then bring it back. I mean, what you guys did and what you spoke about would have only been a domain for books like 100 years ago, 50 years ago. Someone would write it down. I just finished reading Zen and Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. It's written in 1972.
Yeah, cool.
Robert Percy. Just an amazing book. And it's about his travels with him and his son and his motorbike from Illinois, perhaps, and west and then down to finishing in Los Angeles. But yeah, it ties it in. It's like basically 3 stories in one, talking about philosophy, trying to reclaim himself, and also talking about this trip that he's on. If he had had a video camera with him and could have recorded some of those conversations, it would have had such an even bigger impact on the world around him. Yeah. Especially now with the internet, where we can then get it out and it can be seen by, like when you guys have started putting this out now, this could go to anyone in the world and they'll pick up and are like, wow, just give them something to think about, which would have been a domain of books, and they're fantastic. But now our ability to be able to share our experiences and then put it out around the world, it's just incredible. It's just incredible, and it just all feeds upon each other. You've no doubt picked up on different things people have done on YouTube or Facebook or whatever it is, and that's really inspired you to go and do something. So it's like this building of something or another. And so, what you guys are doing is just not just fantastic, but really important as well.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Well, it's just, it's because, I think because we can either go one way with this new resource of technology, or we can go the other, and it's just how we decide to a lot of it's just going to be based on what content we decide to put out. If we want to put out like just spewing hatred and bigotry and all that, that's what we'll create. If we want to do something that's more loving and altruistic and in line and in harmony with being a human being and the earth, then that's what we'll create as well. So we just need more of it.
They can really inspire like all sorts of facets of cultural change, both positive and negative. And like talking about Terence McKenna before, like I remember he was like a big advocate for the internet. Like before he passed away, he was so excited about it because it's the potential to connect people with the most obscure and maybe sometimes like marginalized interests to find the others.
Exactly.
And it could be people out there who are wanting to kind of deal with their lives a bit better, or even maybe just want to explore the facets of Iceland. They might look this up and it might spark off something in their mind about how they feel about their dreams, or what they take out of their kind of experience of nature, and about being more present, these sort of things. And it's kind of cool. It's like the internet's there's just so much out there, And there's obviously there's going to be a lot of negative stuff flying around, but if you can kind of cast out some little beautiful things that we learnt, and hopefully they can just hit the right people, and maybe they can just inspire a bit of change or a bit of open-mindedness.
And no doubt it will. And how can people find the series? What have you got up at the moment as far as the internet goes? And is there a website or Facebook site?
Just a Facebook page and a YouTube account. And we'll keep developing it as we go. We're kind of just doing this on our own time and expense, and in between everything else. But
Alright, nice. Well, I'll put links up to you guys down at the bottom, down in the text down here as well. And so if you go to Facebook, it's called Dream State Wake State, and also the YouTube channel, which already has your first episode up, which was fantastic. I was so excited, and then to see you guys doing it, it's just brilliant. So really looking forward to more and more episodes coming out.
They get more epic, that's for sure.
Nice.
Didn't want to use all the good ones straight away, So
sure. Build it up. And then you're going to have once a fortnight you're going to bring a new episode out, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it'll be a bit like a Kanye West Yeezy before he brings out every album. He'll bring out a song
Good
each Friday.
Yeah.
You can do it
We're
that
gonna
way as well.
Yeah, GOD Wednesdays pretty much.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so next one will be like a documentary one about how we kind of got to Iceland and also about our residency. And then the next one after that is this beautiful place called Jökulsárlón, which is like a glacier lagoon.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really huge travel all the way around the country to kind of go to this place. It was worth it.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
It's where the biggest glacier in Iceland, which is one of the biggest glaciers in the world, which is called Vatnajökull, which covers about a third of the actual country. It's just one point where it kind of meets the edge of the North Sea,
Right.
and the glacier itself breaks away into these giant, like bright blue icebergs, and slowly floats out to the ocean.
Oh, brilliant.
There's
So you
like
went
little
up there?
seals swimming around in the
Yeah.
water. It's pretty cute.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that's the next kind of that's the next dream state. I guess you say
Sure.
the conversational episodes are the dream state ones, and
Yeah.
then the documentary ones are like the wake state
Ah,
ones.
yeah,
So-
cool. Yeah. No, yeah.
So the next
Exactly.
next
Brilliant.
dream state episode, which will be after the next one,
Yeah.
will be in Jökulsárlón, which is just gorgeous. So.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Looking
We
forward to
have
it.
some really lovely interviews as well with loads of interesting people.
Yeah, right. Cool. And that's going to be part of the Wake State series.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we just kind of went to a bunch of museums and kind of looked into. We're kind of always talking about the concept of magic, what magic was, and that's one
Right.
thing we'd always ask our interview subjects. Was the last question we'd always go,
Yeah.
"Do you believe in magic?"
magic?
And it just is like, it's a kind of like esoteric question. It's like throwing a dart and just seeing what lands,
Yeah,
like,
right.
And some people would just be like, I don't believe in magic, but some
Sure.
people would be like, yeah, I do,
Yeah.
and all these things would come out.
Coax them into, like, in whatever way we could, into talking about their, perception of reality in, like, a bit more of a wider sense.
Yeah.
Talking to people that, explore, like, macrobiology.
Sure.
And you're like, is your perception different because you're focusing on something really small?
Well, life, it's such a
really
tiny task.
reductionist.
Yeah.
And then, like, talking to practices of paganism, and you're like, so do you feel like the world is more, like, magical because you believe in these kind of things? And you're like, oh man, you get, like, answers that maybe you weren't hoping for.
Sure,
Sometimes
okay.
it'd be like the opposite way.
Yeah.
Damn it! I want you to say something to make me believe.
Yeah, right.
And of course, we've got some footage of the Northern Lights in there as well, which is something we
sweet.
didn't even touch on.
Oh, right.
We're really lucky to be blessed with some aurora as well up there. So
Oh, right, brilliant.
That kind of adds to the whole fabric of, what's real when you're seeing fire, green fire dancing throughout the sky.
It
Oh,
is
brilliant,
like
guys.
flames in the sky.
Right. Just moving around, translucent.
Yeah.
Greens and purples and all sorts of
Oh,
colours.
that would be an amazing thing to witness.
Yeah, I've done
Again and again.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Can't really capture it on the camera, but we did get some shots of it. But
Sure.
that's something that we could never convey, I don't think, until you're actually there.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
very blessed to experience it. So
Yeah. Oh, that's something you'll remember for the rest of your life. No
Mm.
doubt about it. What an
Yeah.
amazing thing to be able to experience. Yeah.
it's
It-
great
I
show.
think they have them down on the southern tip as well, don't they? You can take like a boat down there, or if you stay on Antarctica, you can view them as well.
Yeah,
But
Aurora Australis.
yeah, Aurora Australis, that's right, yeah. And there just seems to be like this whole, I don't know if I think of it because of North Pole, Santa Claus, Christmas light, all that sort of thing. They just seem like amazing, and to be able to experience it would just be like an incredible thing, especially up at that part of the world where Santa Claus lives. It's like perfect for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you spoke about magic before, I think I find magic, like proper magic with a K, let's say. I've got a guy I really love listening to, Duncan Trussell. He's quite into it. And because we don't know how this world works, generally, we don't really know. We're quite finite beings in this infinite universe, but we're quite limited.
Still as monkeys figuring stuff out.
Yeah, Graham Hancock calls us a species with amnesia.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to work this out, and then a lot of people, it's just when people discount things, I think that's the problem. When people will be like, no, there's no such thing as magic, or it's like, do you really know that? And other people would say that they've experienced it and they've taken part in it, and magic can be in its broadest terms, whether it's just through positive thinking or conjuring up spells using potions. It's all one and the same. But there's like, anytime someone gets asked that, generally in a fundamentalist world, there's this negative connotation towards magic, and it's like, oh no, hang on. All it is just just programming, really.
Yeah, that's insane.
The thing about magic is that, I mean, what we call magic is pretty much it's something that you can't comprehend properly, right?
Yeah,
So it's like, it seems so fantastical that you're not quite sure if it's real.
sure.
You look at something like a blue whale, and you're like,
Yeah, right.
you can see that exists, and you don't
Mm.
believe in something that maybe like might challenge your brain a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
you believe a blue whale?
Sure. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like,
But that creature in your dream, is that any less just because you couldn't like knock on it or?
yeah, but it's so crazy how our minds are shut in certain places but open in others.
Right.
Like-
Yeah. Yeah. Very good point.
So you, like, someone could, suggest something to you like, I've just learned how to levitate, and you'd be like, no, you didn't.
Yeah. Sure.
But there's a blue whale. It's a gigantic creature that swims in water and
Right.
like can contact other whales from thousands of kilometers away
Yeah.
by making sounds through the water.
Sure.
And they all sing the same song around the entire
Yeah.
world. Yeah,
But
crazy
you
stuff.
believe that the levitation, no
Yeah.
way.
But that's why I really believe like some sort of perturbation of our consciousness really helps. And like just thinking of Terence McKenna's coming up again, but with like
What a guy.
he had a great quote. There's someone else's quote about like a fish doesn't realise it's in water. And it's not until you perturb the water that the fish will become aware that it's in water, or a whale. You know, it's for its sake, it might as well just be floating through space.
Yeah.
Like a whale down in the deep blue, it's just like floating through space. It's got a three-dimensional ability around that area, but it doesn't know that it's fixed in that. And the same thing applies to our consciousness. We're in this thing, we don't really understand it, but it's not until we perturb it through drugs of any kind, really, that includes alcohol and caffeine, that we're like, oh, hang on,
This feels
wow,
a bit weird.
something's a bit different here. Yeah, and perhaps what I'm experiencing, what I'm so used to on a rational level, isn't the only experience there is. And that's and those other experiences are where magic. That's where magic is. Yeah, where really our potentiality. It's potentiality. That's another way I'd describe it. What is possible. That's where the imagination lies. That's where dreaming lies. Perhaps. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, so many forces that we just do not understand
Yeah.
in this universe, and I don't think we ever will, you know?
And we probably won't, until we leave these bodies perhaps, and then we'll become all-knowing. But I think in the meantime, it's really important that we do have these conversations and bring back that information. Again, Terence McKenna spoke about that as well, bringing back information and to bring it back here for other people just to think about. And yeah, I think that's what's amazing about your documentary and what you've done. And awesome work, guys. Just keep at it, and I hope to see more of these sorts of things from you guys as well. And we'll go from there. But we might wrap up there, I think.
We've
What do you
been
reckon?
chatting a while.
It's been
Happy
good.
to, it's nice.
Yeah, and I think that's as far as the links and all that. We spoke about it a little bit earlier. Just look on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
And
Dream State, Wake State on YouTube, Facebook.
do it. I'll put some links up as well.
Yeah, please subscribe, please watch. We've got 7 more episodes coming. I'd love to share more with you.
Yeah, cool, sweet. Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate being on the podcast.
Thank you very much for having us.
I was thinking this morning, we actually met as my very first medicine ceremony back in like June 2013 now. Yeah, that was the first time I met you with Darpan. So it's awesome to get you back here and doing something like this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, it's been really great seeing you do this, man. It's
Yeah.
awesome just to spread good conscious knowledge out there in any way you can.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
From your own house.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Reach the entire world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Again, it's just that. So 20 years ago to do this, I probably would have needed tens of thousands of dollars and some sort of
Russian spy satellite or something.
Yeah, exactly. Some pirate radio thing. But now, just straight up on the internet. It's easy. So it's fantastic. Really, and leaves me very optimistic for the future, and I'm sure you guys as well. Just how we're able to spread this information now, and
be open.
Be
open to believe in the magic.
Exactly right. Yeah, definitely. Great way to end it, Stephen. Thank you very much, guys, and to everyone else, we'll see you next time. Thank you.